Okay everyone, so we're going to start today on a pretty sour note. We're going to scroll along here. I've got my most recent epic pull, and yes, it's another stick handling enhancement. So that is 5 epic pulls in a row where I have not got an outfield player. Now, although it's meant to be random and all this kind of stuff, how the hell am I supposed to progress in this game if I can't pull anything of any use? Now you might say, oh yes, enhancements will be useful. Great, but at the moment I want to get into legendary tier. I want to try and improve my season play to get myself into legendary tier, and I also want to improve my road to the Stanley Cup so I can get the event cards. Enhancements are not going to help me there. Let's talk about seasons for a moment, just while I cool down, because this is really beginning to annoy me, all these pulls. I've just come and energized my season. As you can see here, I am in epic tier, 17 for 4 at the moment. I'm not sure how many people are in here, haven't even bothered to check. We'll worry about that later. But if we go to the rewards, you will see you get 2 epics for winning, an epic card for finishing in the finals, along with an ultra support and an epic for the semi-finals. So my goal obviously is to try and get to the semi-finals. Now I've weighed it up. If I finish in the quarterfinals, it's not the end of the world. It's exactly the same as winning the ultra rare seasons, which I was doing before, except for it's obviously going to be excuse me, a shorter time period. I don't have to play these 2 matches as well, so you'll be able to get more seasons done in the same period of time. In effect, even if you're only coming out in the quarters, and if you go in the first round, it is at least an ultra rare card. So the plan to try and get to the semi-finals. Anything beyond that is just a bonus, but if I can at least get to the quarters, I'm not losing anything. So we need to get some of those epic cards into our team straight away. Now, in terms of the event, there have been a lot of problems over the last couple of days. As you can see here, it says the event ends in 3 days and 2 hours. Now, I have not been onto the forums, so I'm going to click on the event and show you. Now, this wasn't, it used to be 2 days and 2 hours. Now, there has been a lot of problems with the ranking system. Now, I can't show you at the moment because it looks like it's probably okay, but you might have some games up ranked from anywhere between 1st to about 4,000th over the course of points. And each time you come to play a new game, a lot of you guys will notice you just got some random rank up here, and if you clicked on the leaderboard, it made absolutely no sense. So at the moment it is at least in some kind of order, but for a while there was absolutely no sense to where you were ranked, what your points were, or anything. Now I don't know even if these wins are accurate. I don't know how and what's happened, but something's clearly bugged with this event. So I'm kind of playing the event, not really knowing where I stand, and I think that's really unfair. I think it's super unfair, in fact, because for a lot of people trying to play the game like myself, trying to get the top rewards, and we'll click on rewards again. You know, if I'm looking to try and finish in the top 100, up until the last couple of hours or so, I've been ranked between 1st and 5th and 13th, and then all the way back down to 250, all the way outside to 4,000. You know, I'm like, hold up, I was 1st literally 20 minutes ago. How have you ranked me now at 2,500 or whatever I was at? So I'm not too sure where I'm ranking in here. Now, my aim was to try and finish in the top 100. I have work on Saturday and Sunday. I was going to do the majority of my work for the rest of today through Saturday. I was going to try and get to about 5,500 points, maybe 6,000 if I could, and then see how it goes. If I need to play a bit more, then I will. Now, if the event has been extended as well by an extra day, that's going to hinder me because I have work on Monday. It's just going to be more people can get in front of me. I just think this is really badly run. I mean, how they haven't been able to... This has surely got to be exactly the same kind of program that they used in the last NHL game. With that said, rant over it again. It's not a good episode, is it, for me? Well, you guys aren't probably having a good time with this either. Let's have a look at the actual event and let's see what you can do to try and improve your chances of winning those +5 games. So, +5 games will be at the bottom, 3 and 1. Now, as a basic breakdown, for any of you who maybe haven't played NHL Supercard before this season, or any of the other kind of Supercard franchises, Rivals Clash is where you will be pitted against people for points. You get points for winning, and your points are added up, and at the end your total points will give you a rank, and that rank will reward you a prize. So you can get 1, 3 or 5 points as standard, or if you use a hot streak you get 2, 6 and 10. Okay, the idea of a 1 point game should be very easy to win, a 3 point game should be fairly easy to win, and a 5 point game should be more difficult. So You get bigger rewards, more points, obviously completing the +5 matches, but they will generally be against harder opponents. So, what have I done? Well, there are two schools of thought here. First of all, you can not care about your rank, and you can make yourself a complete boss team. Now, what I could do is I could drop this down to a common goalkeeper, run 3 outfield players, drop into ultra rare, not worry about my resets and stuff, and then I'm going to just use 3 cards to try and win the majority of my games. And I'll show you that kind of strategy in a moment. Or you can do the kind of strategy I'm using, which is to try and put myself near the bottom of the highest tier I can be, which in this case is epic. So for yourself, it could be ultra rare, it could be super rare, whatever tier the highest you can get into. Leave yourself in the bottom of that tier. So I could be an epic plus, but I'm not. For example, leave myself in epic, near the bottom of epic, because the idea is I want to still have that chance of pulling epic cards, but I don't want to have my best team in, because it's going to make it harder for me to win. So what I'm doing is I'm using 2 cards which are pretty much going to win the majority of games, 2 cards which are throwaways, and a couple of cards to keep me into the epic tier. So this kind of example, I'm using a fully maxed out epic card, an almost maxed out legendary card, and a pro legendary card, but not fully maxed out. He's not fully maxed out on purpose, okay? So you can, depending on your tier, you would change this. You might have a pro epic card that's not fully leveled. You might have a fully leveled epic card, a fully leveled ultra rare card, and then 3 common cards. For example, if you're in ultra rare tier, it would be something along that lines. Now, what you can do here, and what I would almost suggest to some people as well, is the goalie is the hardest area to fill generally. So you could always throw in an ultra rare, sorry, not an ultra rare, excuse me, a common card in here, because the idea would be you're going to try and lose every goalie match and win the other 2 periods. Now, I don't do that, and I'm going to show you guys why. I'm going to show you why I leave myself with a goalie that potentially can win me matches. So you get an idea here. Okay, so I've got the weakest, kind of strongest goalie I can get, if that makes sense. So without putting me too far up epic tier, but keep me in epic tier. And then I've got my 3 card, which I'm going to use most of the time. That would be great if this was a left wing and he would have been in position to get the bonus, but you can't get everything. So going into games, now what do you want to look for? Well, ideally, you want to look for a person who's got the same shield or trophy as you have. So down here you can see the CTG X2 has the same shield as me, so he's in this tier. Whether he's up the top or near the bottom, that's to be found out, but he's in my tier. Now the person below is in the tier below, so this is a good example of someone you want to play. Somebody who you want to try and avoid would be an example like this. So God Complex and both Sabla Lucio, or whatever it is, both in the same tier, but at +3 and +5, you know for a fact now that this guy is going to be near the bottom of the tier and this guy is going to be near the top of the tier, because there's a difference, because of the difference, should we say, in their points. So you already know this is a top of the tier team and it's a bottom of the tier team, so this guy's going to be harder. You know he's going to be harder to beat because he's going to have a better team for you for sure. Whereas if you come against a person, same situation again here, like this Loki here, except for the number of games he's played, you might say he's got to have quite a good team because he's not played many games and he's already in epic tier. But he could be in the middle. He could be close to you. He could be in the middle. He's not necessarily guaranteed to be at the top because the +3 game is telling you that that's in the tier below. So what you can do is you can skim through until you find a person who you like the look of playing. Now, I wouldn't necessarily do that too much. I just do it to an extent when you get a situation like this. So wait till you have a +3, which is the tier below you, and a +5, which is the tier that you're in, okay? So bear with me 2 seconds, I just got to pause this and I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. So we're going to play Mario here. I'm going to put on my hot streaks just because I can. And this is the kind of game that I would imagine I could probably lose because he hasn't played too many games and he's already in the epic tier, which makes me think he's got quite a few cards. So, strategy, what do you want to do? Well, you only need to win 2 of the 3 periods. And what you need to do is you need to try and work out what kind of cards in general you're going to be up against. Now, this theory isn't going to win every single game for you. I don't think there is really a tactic that can guarantee you a win every single game, because obviously people will use similar tactics to what I'm using and then subsequently what you'll be using. and you will come across matches where it's just not in your favour. But generally what I would do is I would try and win the matches which aren't the goalie matches here. So I've got 3 cards that I'm going to try and win the matches with. Now sometimes when the first match is 2 players, I will throw away my 2 weaker cards and I'll keep my goalie card with my best card, and I will win like that. So we'll play a few games and let's see if I can show you what I mean. So first of all, I'm just going to use the focus for the sake of it. Now it's not the best idea to use my Steven Stamkos because he's not really a focus card, but he's going to come out and win the first match. So here I'm likely to come up against either a lot of epic cards and the odd epic pro or 2. So if we lose Patrice Bergeron, we win. Then we go and throw out my goalie. And okay, so we've come up against a lot of just solo epic cards here. So it's fine, we win 2-1. That's all we need to do. We want to win 2-1 because we want to win the match to get the plus 10 points, which will come up here, or plus 5 if you're not using the bonus. And you're going to get 2 picks as opposed to 3 picks because we didn't get the complete shutout. And why is it important not to get 3 picks? Because A, it takes more time for you to collect your cards, and B, you're going to fill up your card catalogue 50% faster, which means you're going to spend more time going back, deleting cards, training cards away, etc, etc. But obviously you want to spend the majority of your time that you have on the game actually playing matches, not sorting out your card catalogue, etc. So we come back down here, we'll go straight into Conor McBlake, and we'll see if we can get either the goalie first or 2 outfield player first. Let's have a see what comes up. Okay, perfect. So calling out my goalie match. Now once again, my goalie isn't one of my top cards, should we say. We're going to throw him away, and we're going to hope the computer generally will use some of their better cards. There's an epic pro gone. The computer generally, this isn't a fact, okay? They don't always use their best cards straight away, but they generally use their better cards earlier on in the game. So the last quarter is usually the easiest quarter to win. So having won that, I will use now my single card to try and make sure that we're at least at 1-1. And then if it's a single or a double, no problems. Got a goalie left, I've got a card which should beat the majority of goalies, even if they are, as you can see here, ultra rare pros. There's not going to be many people with an epic pro goalie at the bottom of epic tier. So that was a win for me. So that's the ideal situation there, to have my goalie match come up first. Then I pretty much know that I've won the game because the computer's going to use 2 of their cards, and good chance one of those cards is going to be one of their top cards, and it's going to mean that I can then win the second period and the third period fairly comfortably. Now what you can do alternatively, and I will show you here, is throw out a weaker card first of all, hoping the computer uses one of the stronger cards. So for example, an epic pro here would have been ideal. Then when the goalie comes out, I use that and my strongest card, hoping to still get the win, which I will do here at the moment because it's strong enough. And in the last match, we can use my second strongest card to also get the win. Now, as you can see, each tactic you use is situational. You're not always going to know unless you've played the person a number of times and you can remember what their kind of cards are and what kind of cards the computer uses, what's going to be the best way to do it. Sometimes you're going to want to hold a stronger card back. Sometimes the computer's going to keep a stronger card back. We'll play Felix here. He hasn't played many games, so maybe we'll see 1 or 2 pros here to show you the other kind of side of it, how you can get caught out. Okay, goalie again. So goalie comes up first. Never going to put out my top team. Going to just throw cards away. The fact that I've just seen 2 epic cards go down, I'm going to assume he's only got epic cards. So we're going to use my best card and this one here to get us through. And hopefully against the goalie, it's just going to be a single epic. Oh, it's not going to be a goalie. Okay, he's got an epic pro. Okay, so here you go. So I've lost this one now because of the call out of the games. There you go. So that's an example of how you can lose. The pro was kept to the end. It didn't use the pro in my goalie match, which would normally happen. Use 2 single. Obviously, if I had have known the order of the cards coming out, I would have won that game. I could have obviously maneuvered my cards around and made sure I won it. Now, I'm going to probably actually try and show you a match against a person in the tier above you if I can, and just show that that isn't always the end of the world either. Once again, it does depend on... Here you go. So I'm going to play Leafs Fan 80 here. So, I've misclicked. What an absolute... Oh, okay. I'm just going to click through this very quickly. What I was going to say was I'm going to try and show you that it doesn't actually matter to a certain extent who you play against, because even against people with better teams than you, once again, it does kind of depend on how you use your cards and in what order the computer uses their cards, as much as who's got the better team. Because the majority of the time when you're playing +5s, they're technically their overall stat points of all their cards should be greater than the overall stat points of your cards, so you should be against better players. So the fact that you are still able to win the majority of the games means obviously it's not all down to the actual points of the team. Right, forget that for a sec, we'll just play Rich Johnson then, because I don't want to spend another hour trying to get somebody in Epic Plus. There you go, he's going to be someone who's at the top of Epic tier, and the same thing again. Now if I know I'm playing this person and it's skating first of all, I'm going to use my best card here because it's a pretty solid card in this situation and it's going to beat the pro. Now the bad news is this is an underlevel pro, so there's a very good chance, a bit like my Stamkos, that he's going to have a few more of those left in the pipeline. We're going to still use my second best card here because he would beat an underlevel pro again. Okay, he's going to beat Ryan Nelson, which is perfectly fine, so this puts me 2-0 up, and then we just throw the last game, no problems at all. So there's a guy who's towards the top of Epic tier, and I've still come through and managed to get the win. So you've seen me win, you've seen me lose, and hopefully you get a kind of idea what you're going for. You know, we'll just play Platinum here for the sake of it, because it's just there waiting to be clicked on. So last game here, should lose this game in theory. It's going to depend on the call outs. This is a good call out for me. I get to throw away 2 cards and hopefully we get an Epic Pro out here. Perfect. Okay, Epic Pro gone, which increases the chance of me winning. Now if it's a single match, I can use my single Stamkos, which is going to be any Epic Pro. Nope. Okay, it's Ultra Rare Pros, which is even better. Hopefully we get one single match, will be better, and we should win it here with Bergeron, and we do. So there you go, we've managed to beat somebody in the tier above just because of the way the cards were called out, and obviously the decisions that you make along the way. But as you play it, you'll kind of get used to learning what cards you should do and shouldn't put out. Sometimes there's nothing you can do, so don't beat yourselves up. Sometimes it makes absolutely no difference which card you put out there. You're just gonna lose. The computer's just gonna do you over. So the best thing to do is just to keep playing and playing and playing, and setting yourself up with a team that gives you a chance to win. As I'd say, I'd use 2 pretty strong to extremely strong cards given the tier, and in this case it's a legendary pro and a pretty much maxed out legendary card. That obviously, if you're in ultra rare tier, that could be an epic card and an epic single, for example, a couple of common cards, and then you're filling in the other spots. A card here which is in the tier you're in, so it would be ultra rare if you're in ultra rare tier, super rare if you're in super rare tier, and you can use a common goalie if you want to bring it down. And that, if you do that, if you use the common goalie approach, you're basically going to lose. You're just going to throw away every goalie match. So what you're going to do is you're going to hope that the goalie matches the first one. It's got a 1 in 3 chance. You've got a 33% chance of it coming out, playing out the way you want it to. By leaving yourself a goalie that can win, like I do here with these 2 combination, then if the first match is 2 outfield players as well, you can use that in your favour. So I personally would prefer to leave the goalie actually kind of semi-useful, which is why I've got a super rare one here who's kind of 3/4 of the way pro'd out. But it is up to individual preference and what seems to work for you. So thank you for watching anyway, guys. I'm going to go now, and I'll come back towards the end of the event and show you how I've got on. So good luck in the event yourselves, and see you all soon.